Zindell Brown, Tay McGee, Shaid Woodard, and Eric Williams all traveled to Matamoros, Mexico over the weekend. They went so McGee could get cosmetic surgery. Shortly after arriving in Mexico, they were caught in the crossfire of rival cartel groups. Williams and McGee survived. According to Mexican officials, they were found alive in a house right outside of the town.
Now, we have team coverage for you tonight. Our Tanya Brown speaking with the mother of one of the survivors. Plus, we also have a report from the border as the victims return to the States this morning. Tonight, we begin with our Tanya Brown. She's live outside the Lake City Police Department where all of the victims grew up and lived at one time. And city leaders holding a news conference earlier today, sending their condolences to the families of Shaid Woodard and Zindell Brown. Now, Tanya, you spoke with the Brown family. What did they have to say today?
Jennifer actually spoke with his sister, and she says they were waiting for the FBI to confirm more information for them. Brown's family says whatever the outcome, they were ready to accept it, even if it meant their loved one didn't make it.
I don't have any worries because I know who I am and I know who God is.
The mother and sister of 28-year-old Zindell Brown sat down Monday to talk with me about Brown's kidnapping. We now know he and his friend Shaid Woodard were killed after they were caught in the crossfire of rival drug cartels Friday. Brown's mother said she was prepared for whatever the situation.
I have made up my mind that either way it goes, I have no other choice but to accept. But God is a good God.
Brown and Woodard were traveling with Latavia Washington McGee and Eric Williams to the country for McGee to undergo cosmetic surgery. Both of them survived. I talked with McGee's mother, Barbara Burgess, Tuesday afternoon by phone. Burgess told me she talked with Latavia while she was being examined at a hospital in Texas.
Yeah, she's alive. I talked to her. She let me, the nurse at the hospital called and let me talk to her.
Burgess says it's been quite the ordeal for her daughter, and she's just thankful it's all over.
She was crying because she said, I asked her how she doing. She was doing okay, but she was crying because her brother got killed. She watched him die. Yeah, she watched two of them die. They died in front of her. I got my daughter, and she's alive.
Zindell Brown's mother says that she had no idea that he and his friends were traveling to Mexico. She found out when they already had reached Mississippi. She said if she had known earlier, she would have asked her son not to go because parts of Mexico just aren't safe. Live in Lake City, Tanya Brown, ABC 15 News.
Thank you, Tanya. A Lake City pastor plans to hold a prayer vigil tomorrow night for the families of those killed and the community as a whole. The wife of the other surviving victim, Eric Williams, spoke to ABC News, and here's what she told them.
It was just tears of joy, I guess, that he's alive.
Williams and McGee are now at a Brownsville, Texas hospital tonight, and that's where our team coverage continues.
Yami Verheen with our Sinclair sister station has been at the U.S.-Mexico border all day. She has more tonight on the investigation by Mexican authorities.
Latavia McGee and Eric James Williams are now here at the Valley Regional Medical Center. According to Latavia's mother, whom we spoke to earlier, both are in good condition. Overnight, there were raids done by Mexican authorities all over the city of Matamoros, just across from Brownsville, Texas. Around 8 a.m. is when the Mexican government says that the 4 who were kidnapped on Friday were found. It was in this building in the outskirts of Matamoros, going towards a beach area called Baghdad, about 40 minutes away from the Texas resort area of South Padre Island. Shaid Woodard and Zindell Brown were dead inside. McGee and Williams were alive and then were taken to the Veterans Bridge where the exchange took place with the FBI, Homeland Security, and other federal agents. They were then brought here to Valley Regional Hospital in Brownsville. According to former Homeland Security agent in charge, Adi Jimenez, this leaves the cartels in a bad situation.
The cartels don't really want to get into the business of murdering Americans because that brings bad attention to them and to their business model.
The activists stood right here today demanding justice for all four victims. They say this senseless and tragic killings, they want it to stay on the radar of the FBI and other authorities so that it gets the attention that it so rightfully deserves. Now, earlier today, John C. Barnett, who's an activist and the founder of True Healing Under God, and Dr. Darius Price with Black Line Publications say they want everyone involved in the kidnapping and to pay for the murders for what they did to Shaheed Woodard, Zindell Brown, Latavia Washington McGee, and Eric Brown. Shaheed's father and mother stood with them during the news conference. Now, the activists are asking President Joe Biden and authorities to continue to put heat on the Mexican authorities to bring those killers to justice.
Today, we're encouraging that they initiate full action. I want President Biden to treat this particular case or these cases as if it was his own child being dragged out of a car by a Mexican cartel and being murdered. Thank God, 2 was spared.
Shaheed's father, James Woodard, says today is extremely hard for him because Shaheed would have been turned 24 or 34 rather today.